Well, we are continuing the fourth week of our Celebrate Cities series right now.
The fun continues with WXXV's Rob Knight live from Murky Waters in the heart of the city of Discovery, Ocean Springs. How you doing, Rob?
Hey, good morning, Grant, Ansley, and South Mississippi. Folks, we're live in Ocean Springs, Government Street. We're focusing on WXXV News 25 Celebrating Cities. This is the fourth one and the final one for the month of November. We're at the beautiful Murky Waters restaurant, the new Murky Waters restaurant. I say new, it's about 8 months or so, but boy, if you haven't been to the new one lately, remember the old one, a little bit of an outdoor patio. It was a one-story building, an older house that they converted to a restaurant. This is their establishment, folks. The newer one is just about a block east of where they were before. You won't be able to miss it. And oh, by the way, that outside open air eating area downstairs is no longer there. It's now upstairs. They've got a second story, an open air bar upstairs, and it's got a bar area and an area for performers as well. So looking forward to that. Folks, we're celebrating cities. Earlier this morning, we had Julian Rankin, the executive director for the Walter Anderson Museum of Art, joining us. You know, now we've got a direct link to the history, the legacy of the Andersons. Mr. John Anderson joining us this morning, and thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Rob.
Mr. Anderson, we talked a little bit just a few minutes ago, but tie this in for all of our viewers. A lot of our viewers, a lot of the locals, they know the Peter Anderson name. They know the Walter Anderson name. They know the signature block print that Walter came up with, that he utilized throughout a lot of his works. Talk to us a little bit about your dad.
Well, Daddy and Shearwater and our shop, Realizations, are actually all the result of the creative vision of my grandmother. So she actually started the ball rolling. While she was in college, she developed the philosophy that if everybody surrounded themselves with beauty, the world would become a more beautiful place.
Wow.
And she was such a strong woman and such an inspirational woman that her three sons all adopted her philosophy and became artists, creating beautiful things for people to surround themselves with. Of course, the goal was still to make the world a more beautiful place. And that has been the philosophy that kind of underlay Shearwater Pottery, Realizations, Walter Anderson, and the Walter Anderson Museum.
Well, Mr. Anderson, I'll tell you this much. I love your grandmother's philosophy about surrounding yourself with beautiful things so the world will become more of a beautiful place. You know, as far as the kids go, what are the order as far as from oldest to youngest?
My sister Mary is the oldest of my father's children. And my brother Billy's the next oldest, and then my sister Leaf and me.
Okay. What about Walter and Peter? Were they their ages?
Peter was the eldest.
Okay.
Daddy was the middle child, and Mac was the youngest.
Let me ask you something a little bit more personal, Mr. Anderson. How was it like growing up with your dad and your uncle and the creative, this creative stream that was just coming from them? And of course, Mr. Orr was back then as well, a little bit older at that time. But how was it like growing up in such an artistic household?
Oh, it was incredible. It's not just the three brothers, but their wives were also incredible people. My mother graduated from Radcliffe College. And of course, Daddy had the best art education you could get at the Pennsylvania Academy. And then Peter studied with the best ceramicists and potters in the country before he became a potter and started Shearwater Pottery.
Now, I take it they both traveled, whether it be for college or for experience, but then ended up back down here. Am I correct in that assumption?
Well, Daddy traveled a good deal. Peter traveled in that early period, And Peter and Daddy both went off to boarding school in New York, actually, when they were very young. So they did had some history of traveling, and they continued to travel, yes.
We had we spoke earlier about the museum. Talk to us about the store. I absolutely love that store. I go in there and I can get lost for hours and hours, and it's not that big of a store, but just the selection and the beauty of your dad's work is just, I think it's phenomenal to me and a lot of viewers and a lot of admirers out there as well.
That store has been a delight. It's a very positive experience. The people who work there are incredible. They've kind of become family members, and they like to work there. We have a group of artists who paint Daddy's block prints. That's the way he intended for them to be treated. He created those block prints thinking that other people would paint them. Yeah. And we have a wonderful group of artists that enjoy working with his designs.
And you know, they all do such a wonderful job. You can go in there and you can buy the black and white, and you can do yourself, or you can commission one of the artists who more than likely already have something sitting in the store for you to walk out there with.
Yes, that's correct. But each piece is unique. Each piece is different from every other piece. Mm-hmm. So it's an idea that came to fruition very, very well. Because, as I say, we have very good artists that like to collaborate with Daddy, mm-hmm. to interpret his work. And we are able to sell unique pieces of art, one-of-a-kind pieces of art, yeah. that are very, very easy to live with, yeah. as you say. You have them at your house.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, with your dad creating it that and knowing or thinking in the future, I want to have this the same, but I want to change a little bit as well. His main, his concept is still there, but you get modern artists who put their flair on it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. His idea for the block prints actually came from his mother, mm-hmm. from her philosophy. She wanted everyone to have unique art to surround themselves with. And Daddy, according to my mother, he went into the store where people bought their home furnishings, mm-hmm. and came back very upset and said that the art available to the average person lacked integrity, that he was an artist and it was his responsibility to create art that was available to everyone so that everyone could surround themselves with beauty. And
I'll be honest with you, I think he succeeded in doing that. Mr. Anderson, we're running out of time, but I want to say what a pleasure it's been talking to you, the history you've given us, and educating our audience a little bit more on one of the most beautiful things here in South Mississippi, your dad, Walter Anderson, and some of his amazing work. Thank you again, sir. Folks, this is Rob Knight celebrating cities for WXXV News 25. We're going to continue in just a bit, but right now, reporting live from Government Street. Sending it back to the studio, I'm Rob Knight.